Okay. Okay, good evening. I'm Chantal and I work for BHA.
Hi, I'm Yvonne and I work for George House Trust as a volunteer.
Hi, I'm Jeff Okiri. I work for BHA as well.
Great. This is
Thank you.
speaking.
Okay, so just to start off with and just give a bit of this webinar etiquette, all participants are on mute, so you're not gonna have the option to speak over the mic, but we have got the Q&A box option, which should be at the bottom of your screen. And we've also got the chat box. So for any questions, comments, feedback, anything, just feel free to write in there throughout the show today. We won't be referring to anyone by the name. This is a safe space and it's confidential as well. So that you've got that. Don't worry about us sharing any of that information here today. And yeah, all feedback's welcome. So put that in anytime at the end, the beginning, wherever, just let us know, because then we can use that to inform any of the future shows that we'll be doing. Anyone else got anything that I've missed out on there?
No, not really.
That if we can't answer a question at the time, we still take your concerns really seriously. So if we can't answer, we'll be honest. About 5 or 10 minutes after each session so that we can speak to people. They can get their questions answered then, or we can take details or a way of contacting you so we can give you the answers to the questions. We don't want to open things up and then leave questions unanswered where at all possible. So the important thing about this space is it's safe and confidential. But also we're trying to make a supportive space for people to talk.
Yeah, that just cut out a bit at the beginning there, Yvonne, but I've just put my email address in at the bottom, and that's, I think the bit that cut out was just saying if we can't answer a question, we can always get back to you. So my email address is in that chat box there if you want to take it, and you can contact me afterwards as well if there's anything that you've thought of after the show as well, or for feedback. Feel free to do that.
Yeah, that's great.
Okay,
Okay.
cool. So,
Yeah,
welcome to Speakeasy. It's been a long time coming. I met Yvonne. I met you 2019, was it? Pre-lockdown, pre-COVID. What was it? 18.
don't even go there because that just ages me up even more, man. I'm thinking, yeah, let's say it's
2018.
What was that?
2019, not 1918, Jeff. 2019, we met, didn't we? I'm looking at doing some sort of collaboration work to do with, was it testing week? And
yes,
the discussion was like, just hit it off. Well, let's do a loose women type panel show. There's discussions that we want to have that we're not having in our communities. Like,
yeah,
do it. And that was over a year ago.
I can't believe that though. So to give people more context then, when I say I volunteer for George House Trust, I volunteer because I'm HIV positive.
Mm-hmm.
So National HIV Testing Week is really important to me. For me, the speakeasy is about taboos because, in effect, people like me, men or women who are living with HIV in our community, are not seen and not heard. And the life you live can be quite distressing, and it shouldn't be. And the whole idea of testing, I was talking to Chantel about testing becoming part of our overall wellness,
Yeah.
because I think when it comes to being spiritual people, we're okay with it. And when we talk about our physical health, we're okay. But when we start talking about sexual health or mental health, then we kind of start stepping back into the shadows. And I said to Chantel, I wanted a space where people could see me and meet me and find out what it's like to live with it, how I manage it, so that there's less of a taboo around it and it becomes normal, so that we don't have people still dying in our community of it and nobody knows, and being in the community and not being able to reach out to friends and family for support. So yeah, I'm passionate about it and I wanted to create that space. And I was really pleased when Chantel and Jeff gave the heads up and said, yeah, they would support me in creating this space. So yeah, that's why it's important to me. But what about you guys?
Well, I think,
Oh,
I think yeah, I think it's a very great opportunity in a way, not just only for the fact that you're able to come here to disclose about your status and also get people to understand what it means to be living with HIV and changing the mindsets around people living with the condition, and also enabling people to understand that there is life beyond the diagnosis as well. I think it's very important. But also, this forum is also an opportunity for us to look at other diverse, issues, relating to
exactly.
women and kids, relating to society. We talk about politics. We talk about men. Sometimes men have lots of issues that they go through that they cannot talk about.
Well, that's
and
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, Jeff. I'm gonna say, with me and Yvonne, when we first met and spoke about it as well, it was a lot around like women and stuff, and forgetting about the men. Do you get what I mean? Like, there's so many things that men need to be discussing, but maybe they don't have that space to do that. So when you jumped on board, and it was like, yeah, great. You've got a different perspective to bring to this as well. And it's important that we bring that up and we talk about it and have those discussions with everyone from the community, like you say. The taboos, this is, like we say, this is a platform, it's a panel, and it's for us and it's by us. It's not just about HIV, or it's not just about sexual health, it's about all the different topics across the board. And we want this to be led as well, or if it can be led by people who are watching this and taking part. We want to know what discussions you want to see, what you want to talk about, where you've not had that space to talk about. You lead this. If you've got someone that you think we should have as a guest on there, let us know. Like I said, the email address is in the bottom. Hi to anyone else who's just joined in as well. My email address is at the bottom if you've got any questions to ask, or any feedback, and also we've got the Q&A box as well at the bottom, so feel free to use that.
I think we were also being really provocative when we started it as well. So Jeff, from a man's point of view, what are the sort of things that guys struggle with, that maybe we can prompt them to start feeling safe enough to talk about?
But there are kind of number of things, I know that women sit down to talk. Most of it they talk about is politics, and they talk about money, and then they talk about women. Those are the most predominant thing they talk about. But on a one-to-one basis, they talk about other issues like sex, like performance on bed, erectile dysfunction, losing their hair, bald head, and those are other issues, and domestic violence, basically, that they go through. Sometimes people just think that women are the only ones that go through domestic violence, but actually men do go through domestic violence. Some of these are some of the other issues that they talk about. Social ascension as well, social mobility, tend to be, social status. These are things that are very relevant to men, that they you deep down they think about it, but there's sometimes there are no spaces for them to really talk about these issues. There is societal perception of men that is just out there, and there is these expectations of men. But sometimes we have to understand that men are also humans, and they have feelings. Sometimes sometimes people think that, oh, the man should always be the one to buy the gift for the woman, take the woman out. But sometimes you have to understand that men have emotions too, and they will love to be giving some gifts sometimes.
Yeah,
so we can talk about
for
this.
For real.
No, and that's exactly why this space is going to be so important. I'm of the older generation now, so I laugh because I don't know when I arrived there. And I always think that you guys, younger, have got more going on for you. You're freer and that you've got more liberated views. But do you find it different, or is it still the same? Are we still as a community locked in our old thoughts?
Well, liberated, it depends on what you mean by liberated view. And what perspective, what do you mean? In what way?
You mean in terms of like the socialization, we've been exposed to a lot more things, like in terms of like when we're growing up, it's a different generation, it's a different community.
Yeah.
Different spaces, different conversation. Do you mean like that?
Exactly. Yeah, well, I grew up in Africa, and when we came from Africa down to this place, it was quite different. Some of the things you did, like cultural shock. You first of all, you in Africa, you're the head of the home, you're the boss of the house, you take care of the house and everything. Everybody respects you, and then suddenly a woman tells you, "Listen, you can't do that." And you're like, "Who are you to tell me that?" You need to go, you need to wash the plates. What? Wash the plate? I work hard and provide food for the house. You're telling me to come and wash the plate? The first thing I experienced was when I came and a lady told me, "Can you go to the shop and buy me something from the shop, please? I'm cooking." I said, "What? You're telling me to go to the shop to buy you something? You're supposed to go to the shop and get yourself, get the ingredients for yourself, and cook your meal, not make it in the shop." And I was going out, I was going to the shop. I called my friend. I said, "Listen, that lady just told me to go to the shop and get her some things. I'm just going to please her anyway.
And you're going anyway?"
I said, "Next time I'm going to tell her no, because this is the first time I'm meeting her." So
did you tell her no next time, Jen?
she did not work after that.
God.
Well, that's a shocking.
Yeah, it was a culture shock.
You don't even think about it. I wouldn't, and for me, it wouldn't have mattered whether my mum had said to me or my brothers. She said, and I mean, and to be quite honest, that's what I want to talk about in Speakeasy, that some of the things that were taught, I'm passionate about my community and there's a loyalty to my community, but I also say now, 2021, there's stuff that we believed in, there's stuff and ways that I was raised that I want to shake a finger at, that I wonder, is it just me, or is it time for a new way of thinking, and do young people struggle with it? Because even this now for me, so feel disrespectful, but yet at the same time, I'm saying there must be another way. So for instance, I'm a carer. And when I look at this culture, there's the need to, or what it seems is that people put their parents in care homes quite easily. Whereas I gave up work to look after my mum, and the job of her is really difficult. And yet my mum turned around and said, "That's what I had you children for." And I just think, click, click, click of my head. Is that okay? Is there another way? And what ways do we look after our older people? And am I being disobedient? So the stereotypes, Jeff, do they go back as far as Africa and come forward with you? And how do you manage then? Because it's not just African or West Indian, you're also dealing with British culture as well. How have you managed?
Yeah. Well, there's something, when I came, there's something that I admire here. And even amongst the older generation, and it's the longevity when it comes to, in the older generation, the longevity of love and the display of love and passion for one another. You see, when you say couple, you see two, old couple, age couple in their 60s, 70s, 80s, holding hands in the street, walking together. That's not a commonality in Africa. They might be together, they might be together in the house, but there's this outward display of love. There's something that is of love and affection. That's something that is not, necessarily, you see them holding hands and loving each other. But, I love that, and I hope that, but I'm thinking that is gradually receding because I don't know if they call it modernity, and then people do not see that there needs to be continuity of relationship or love and display of affection as they get older. I'm just wondering if this whole mentality of independence or emotional independence or strong man or strong woman tendencies is beginning to erode those affections that that usually form the fiber of society historically. But also, if you talk about looking at our parents who are older, one of the things I noticed was quite different because in opposition to what I experienced back home, was that there was this, in Africa, the people love their parents, and the more you get older, the more the parents depend on the kids. You get something, they get their children. So you wouldn't find somebody of 60, 70, 80 years going to the shop to buy stockings, for example, or going to buy groceries. You won't find
generation, yeah.
So their children, even the neighbors' kids, even the neighbors, you can just look out, say, okay, please tell your child to go and buy me something. So they wouldn't, if they see an old woman going to the shop to buy something, somebody, even a stranger, could just say, you know what, I'm going to take that responsibility and not make this woman go to the shop and buy that. So that is something that is quite different. I understand. I don't know what it means. Maybe you might tell me why that is. Why there is such an occurrence here. But I can understand that if you go to the shop as well, it enables you to exercise, to interact with people, you can do shopping, you can exercise, you can still go about, that mobility will be there, which had positive implication on your health. But I'm just wondering, because there is a feeling that people here abandon their parents and you just send them to old people's home, and just leave them there. You only visit them occasionally.
It's different culture, innit? Different cultures, different socializations and stuff as well, and different experiences. Because even though that might be expected of you to do that, might be like, well, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I'm not taking that. So no, so it's all those different factors that you've got to take into place. But like talking about, different cultures and stuff, I just wanted to bring in about speakeasy and it being like, a culturally sensitive, discussing culture sensitive topics. But why do you think that's important for us to be doing on speakeasy right now? And I'm asking that to both of you and myself as well. Why is it important that we've got that space to be discussing these culturally sensitive topics that are taboo?
Yeah, I don't know if Yvonne is still there.
Yeah, because I'm thinking for me as a woman, grown woman, there were many places. I think I brought up to respect and obey and respect and obey and respect and obey. And there is a place for that. But I also see in it that we have traditions that no longer serve us.
Yeah.
And it's almost for me like a check-in. I'm not asking the questions for the sake of asking. I'm asking because some of these things that we hold dear may be killing us at worst, but at best may not be of use mentally or emotionally or for our children either, or that they worked in previous society, not now. That maybe there's a time and place for shaking things up to create new traditions that reflect the overall environment. So when I say, as a woman looking after her mum, I am torn because I am passionate about my mum. I love her, but the request to give up work has left me financially in debt, and yet there are no spaces for me to be supported. And the actual job of caring is difficult enough, and the notion of community in Africa or in the Caribbean isn't the same here. And so is there no space for us to look after our parents in care homes and still be a good son or daughter? Do we not invest in care homes for our
Our
parents
communities, yeah.
or release ourselves from the guilt of having to make difficult decisions? Because I think that I found hard, and as a taboo, not being able to say, I am struggling, I am finding this hard, my family are struggling financially. I
You just
needed
got
a
to get
safe
on with
place.
it and put that cape
Yeah,
on. Yeah.
yeah. And that is another taboo, that we as women put the cape on. We are super strong. I have to be this black woman. And yet our rates of mental ill health are 80% higher, 80% higher, and
Wow.
no one's asking the question. And the reason speakeasy becomes important is it's not a conversation about a black experience versus a white experience. It's about our experience and what is our experience. And then how do we take our understanding of that and make ourselves as a community or ourselves as individuals better? And because they're taboo and there is no space for these questions, we live mentally or emotionally broken sometimes, manifesting in behaviors that are not healthy.
Yeah.
And so
Not realistic.
for
Yeah.
me, yeah, I said make the space to talk and be courageous enough to hear what the older generation have done to this generation and what we are doing to the next,
The next
with a view
generation.
to yeah. So for every time someone comes into this space and throws a question, I'm sitting here respectfully hearing it with a view to, okay, what can I learn? How can I change it? So that's why speakeasy is important for me. What about you, Jeff?
Well, in terms of cultural sensitive, I think it is important because, you know, as much as we want to dive into all the topics, you know, it's also appropriate to also look at reasons why um, issues are not talked about in society, within our cultures, within our communities, and ask questions about why are they not talked about, and see if that if there needs to be some kind of modernity in approach or modernity in mindset, you know, to enable such discussions to be held. You know, there are lots of people who are, for example, held up in marriages that they're not supposed to be in, but because they're not able to talk about it, you know, they're not getting the illumination, they don't know the supports out there. You know, forums like this would enable us to provide, you know, opportunity for them to understand that there are support. So this is not just an occasion for us to just talk, but it's when we talk about these issues, and if it affects you, we can provide you the support, the channel that you need through this program. Yeah.
And what about
Um,
you, Chantal?
so I think, like, you know, it's important that we have this, you know, culturally sensitive discussions. We need to be thinking about not just Black Caribbean, like, you know, when we're talking about, oh, just the Black community, we need to be talking about Black African, we need to be looking at the Asian communities, like all the different communities that aren't just white British, and have consideration for their differences as well as the similarities. I didn't want it to just be a discussion where we're talking about what we know from our families and, you know, through our upbringing. It was important that other people that came on as attendees, they came on and they brought their perspective or came in with questions or comments as well. So they opened our eyes to things that we might not know about. I thought that was really important to bring to this space. Yeah, I was on a roll then. It was going, but I thought that was really important to bring to that space, and also to offer somewhere that is confidential and safe as well for other people. You know, you're anonymous, you're here in this Zoom webinar, no one can see you, no one knows you're attending. Like, put forward your views and your questions and stuff. We're here to hear that and to have that discussion and be open about it. There's no wrong question. There's no, you know, we just ask that that you're very respectful to other people. Don't come in and, you know, bash on other communities and other people because if you're not aware of, you know, things about him, or you don't know, you're not interested or whatever. Sit here, be open to learn about those different cultures and about those different taboos, and let's have that discussion. So I thought it was important for me in that aspect. Just thinking, is there anything else that we need to discuss? So obviously where this came from and whatnot, why it's culturally sensitive. So how often
It's
how often Speakeasy will be. So we decided to have this show on a monthly basis, and it will be on for the year. So we're going to have different people come on the show, hopefully different guests come on, talk about different subjects, and just I've just muted Yvonne because she was expecting a call. Yeah, so just different subjects and whatnot. Yeah, is there anything else that you wanted to bring in, Jeff, or Yvonne?
Yeah. Yeah, I think we're going to bring up quite a number of guests, and we're going to talk about lots of things, you know, and I'm going to be questioning a lot of things. I'm going to be playing like a devil's advocate on many occasions, so just be expecting that, you know. I'm going to be questioning and digging into issues that are very concerning, and questioning on traditions and cultures and values and approaches, you know. So yeah, so it's an occasion for us to, you know, to really, you know, broaden our discussion and, you know, look into
Just
different areas and see how, yeah,
it's all learning as well,
really,
isn't it? It's all about the
yeah.
learning, definitely 100%. I mean, has anyone got any questions? Any attendees? Have you got any questions to, you know, or any comments? Is there anything that you're expecting or would like to hear on the Speakeasy show in the future? I mean, we've had different talks about maybe discussing topics around what Jeff was talking about, you know, what men want to discuss, what men have to say that, you know, we're not hearing. We're just assuming that, you know, that this macho man with no emotions. No, let's listen. What have men got to say? I'm quite interested to speak about spirituality, and
Yeah.
quite interested in that. So I'd like to see if there's anyone that'd like to come on the show and discuss that. About yourself, Yvonne. I'll take you off mute now. Sorry, you're on mute. There we go.
Yeah, I do that all the time. My middle name is on mute. If people are confident and want to come on and host a show and lead us through, and so educate us. Remember, this is about change the minds of individuals. You could change the minds of communities, our communities. So we're not going to sit here and act as if we have all the answers or know it all. All we want to do is to create the space. And if you're happy to come on, get in touch with us. Tel's email is there, and let's have the discussions to bring these shows to life so that we can have the conversations in the community. And obviously, the more popular they get, the longer they're on, the more we can do. So let's hope we're testing the waters and that the waters are favourable.
Definitely. I was also saying as well, it'd be really good opportunity to leave some space at the end of our sessions that we're doing. You know, if anybody wants any further information, or they want to discuss something that might have set off any triggers or whatnot, signposting, referring over somewhere else, you'll have that allocated time at the end of the session to just have that confidential space with me, Jeff, or Yvonne as well. Okay.
Okay. Well, my emergency, sorry about the phone calls. You'd think I'd have got that right by now, but my emergency is longer, so I'm happy to stay right through and answer any questions. I'm the queen of throwing bombs into the room, but I will also stay there to pick up the shrapnel as well. Um, I'm hoping people have found that useful. It's been really nice just to be able to sit and talk. And yeah, thank you guys for being so brave to take the journey with me. I always thought that I would be on my own. And it's I'm not. And I think that's one of the things we should leave people with as well, is that often within our community, we all think the stuff we're carrying leaves us on our own. My community never ceases to amaze me that once you scratch the surface, there is more compassion than you think.
100%, 100%, I agree with that. So I'm just looking in the chat box again. I can't see anything coming up. If you've got email or anything, send me an email. Let me know if there's anything that you want to discuss as well. I was just saying before, when you came back in the room, just different things that would, what are topics that we're interested in, you know, to discuss on future shows. Is there anything, Yvonne, that you'd like to discuss, or you know, anything that anyone in particular to bring someone forward to discuss on future shows for yourself?
Yeah, so I know that for the next show, I want to talk about in more depth life being HIV positive. And I will be bringing a speaker in with me who's a Black male who's gay. So I want to challenge the notions in our community that either you don't exist, that Black people aren't positive, or Black people aren't gay. So if people want to have that space where they say, yes, I'm positive, talking about how we live positively, what I've done to live positively, how to live a positive life as a gay man or woman, how we do that in the Black community. That will be February's chat. So if there's anybody out there who wants to invite a friend, come themselves. Remember, it's an anonymous and safe space.
Yeah.
And you can put questions to Chantel at the chantel@thebha.org.uk.
Yeah.
And we will then answer those on the day. If there are pressing issues and you need additional support, Chantel and Jeff can do that through BHA as well. But we're going to open that taboo subject, being HIV positive or being gay in the Black community, and what does that mean? So if you're interested, we'll be sending out the flyers in a later date. Other things that I'm interested in, everything. My mind is open.
Anything.
Yeah, and I want to get past the stereotype that we're ignorant people. Sit in, ready to, hear what people have got to say, to ask questions, to learn and grow. My thing is HIV, so I tend to look at things in a spiritual way. I challenge politically, physically. About when I say physically, if I see something that needs changing, my game is to educate myself, community, and then to try and figure out ways we can make it better. So for me, yes, HIV in the community for women and for men as well. But anything in general that our community is struggling with. So COVID even, because I know that's a big game changer for a lot of us.
Yeah.
And let's have the conversations, because I'm sure there are people still out there still confused about how to manage it. And so get in touch with us beforehand so we can answer the questions, or set up shows for presentations at future events. We've got 12 lined up so far.
Definitely. We're here for that.
Good.
Okay.
Okay then. So I think we've covered it, why we're here, what we're about, you know, what we want to be seeing in the future of Speakeasy. And it's quite exciting as well, like it's finally coming to fruition. It's been over a year, hasn't it? Like I said at the beginning, that we've been speaking about it. So I'm excited to see what discussions that we're going to be having and the people that are going to be coming on board as well. You know, just come with your questions. If you've not even got questions and you just want to come and see what the discussion's about, you want to learn something new or whatever, just come. It's an open space. It's confidential. It's just about being honest and just being real. That's what we want, the vibe. So the next one will be on the 8th of February. Yvonne was just talking about, and we'll send the details out over our social media and stuff, so you can get the details of how to join and whatnot. Also, I've got my contact details again, like I've been saying throughout in the box, if you want to contact us. If there's anything else that anyone wants to add, Jeff,
No,
Yvonne, no? Right.
no, just looking forward to it.
Yeah. So the launch is done and we're going to get ready to jump into the discussions finally.
Definitely.
Yeah, thank
Definitely.
you to both of you as well. And thank you to the people that have attended this evening as well. Thank you for your support today. If there's anyone that can't join Zoom, we're going to try and see if we can get this live on some other channels as well, but just bear with us. We're just working with it. In the meantime, they'll definitely be put on YouTube, on our YouTube channel. So you'll be able to watch them at any point. Yeah, they'll be archived on there.
Okay. Absolutely brilliant. Thank you.
Thank you guys for coming today.
Thank you.
you.
Have a nice evening. Take care.
Take care. Bye. Bye.